well, I've not been able to get out on the bank, so I thought I'd bring you a video just to show you how to tie up one of the most popular CARP rigs there is knocking about, and that's the Chod rig. There's one I already did. We'll run you through how to tie that, just to give you all, for those of you that don't know how to tie it, a perspective on how you do tie it. Said tie it quite a lot then, didn't I? Right, materials you'll need: some stiff hook length. I've got the rigor mortis from Ace. It's not too expensive. It does the same job. It's in the £15. You can get higher, you can get lower, but it is important that you don't use a mono or a fluorocarbon. It needs to be real stiff. It's like wire trace. This stuff, you can bend it around and it'll always reset itself back straight, and that's just for your Chod rig. Will always be sat up in the water. You'll never sort of get bent out of shape. It'll be perfect every time. Then you've got your Chod hook. You can get the quarter Choddy or ESP stiff rigger. I'm going to go with a quarter Choddy today. They've got the outturned eye there, just so when you're tying it up it sits correctly. You don't want to be using sort of a curved shank, just because you want to be able to push that line outwards, so you've got quite a big gap there for your hooking potential. So that's the hook. Then you've got your O-ring, which is where your dental floss will go, which is going to attach your pop-up to. You can use a bait screw. I haven't got any. It is one of my preferred methods, using the bait screw, but for the purpose of the video I'll show you how to do it with an O-ring. It's exactly the same principle as the bait screw. It ties exactly the same, apart from a bait screw I find a bit easier, you know, just to change a hook bait quickly. If the yellow's not working, use a pink. If the pink's not working, use a white, so on so on. It's just a lot quicker than sitting there tying your dental floss. Then you need your O-ring swivel. It's just a little swivel with an O-ring attached. The O-ring is the part that will go through your leader, either it lead core leader or naked Chod, which is just on mono. So there's your O-ring swivel, and you've got your putty, which you use to mould around the bottom. Now I mould it around before I go out, and then when I get there to the bank I'll test it in the side and just make sure that it's sitting right, because you may put a bit too much on, or you might not put enough on. One thing you don't want is for it to pull your leader up in the water, so you sit with a bow in the water. You want that to be counterbalanced, so it just touches the bottom, and then your hook will reset itself every time perfectly with your leader on the bottom, camouflage as possible. Right, business end of it then. You get your rigor mortis or your stiff link and trim off. I don't do the trimming off millimeters or centimeters. I trim off enough so that I know I've got enough, you know, whatever I'm comfortable with. If I want to have a long tag end, I'll trim off more. If I'm skilled at doing it, then I won't, but I'm not that skilled at doing it, so I find it the easiest way of doing it. So you want to thread your hook link through the eye and creating a hair as you would with a normal CARP rig. You just get that hair there, you clamp that down, and you want to just do your whips behind the eye. Normal situation, same as a hair rig. Just whip that round about seven or 8 times. I'll do it. Push that back through the back of the eye, which can be difficult. Even more difficult when you've got a camera in your face. There we go. And just pull that tight. As tight as possible. So there's your hair on your rig. Then what you want to do is get your O-ring. pass that onto the hair, just so it's sitting on your hair there. And then bend the hair, the tag end of the hair over, and pass it back through the eye of the swivel, the eye of the hook. And you want to pull this quite tight, because the idea is when you get to this stage, you just snip off the tag end, but leaving enough just so you can blob it out with the lighter. So we'll blob that down. And the idea of blobbing it is just to not allow it to be able to pull back through the eye. So that's trapped in there now. And that's the business end tied. You see your O-ring there, just freely able to move up. That's where you tie your dental floss onto, and then your bait. So your bait's where my fingers are now. It just sits up like that. Then you get your ring swivel. The idea with the chod is, well, the shorter the better. However, you might be fishing places with big patches of weed and you want to do a bit of a longer chod, which is fair enough. There's all sorts of different situations for different reasons. That's why I've got a mix. I usually have some long ones and I have some short ones, just so I can change it on the day, whichever I think is going to be better for it. And what you can do is just tie a simple blood knot, so it's your make the ring, then pass the tag end around. The same as a grinner knot, but you can get away with using about 2 to 3 turns before you have to pass it back through the loop. So pass that back through the loop. It's always good to wet your knots before you pull them down, especially with this sort of one, because otherwise when you pull it down it'll look a bit messy and you won't feel very confident with it holding when the fish is on. Sorry. So just wet that down with a bit of saliva. And pull that tight. Now you notice there that I started off with it being very small, and then when I pulled it tight it became massive. So it's always important, if you want to do a short chod, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll redo that because I'm not happy with that. No, it's not as short as I wanted it, but that's what you get when you deal with the stiff hook length. It can be a pain in the arse, to be honest with you. So I'll just repeat that process again. Just spin it round 3 times. Doesn't need to be more than that. You can be confident with it holding after 3 turns. Push it back through the loop. Just get that. And then pull it tight. That's better. That's a real small chod. Okay, just snip that off. And then tidy up your tag end. You've always got to be careful to protect the main line when you're doing this, because the last thing you want is to weaken the knot. Then what we're going to do is going to get the putty. Just pinch a little bit of that off. Like I said, you're always going to be wanting to change this when you're on the bank, because you might put too much on or you might not put enough on. And what I do is I put that around the top ring of the swivel and over the knot. So not only does it tidy it up, but it also helps with your weight. And just push that down. It looks all smart, but you've also still got the Freeman, is that a word? You've also got the free moving of the swivel, so it's able to spin around, and it'll just mean it always resets itself if it gets picked up and dropped, or coots and other wildfowl just picking it up, dropping it. But that is your chod rig. Turned out to be quite a good one actually, that one. Nice and short, sits on the bottom. That's how you tie a chod rig. If I've not explained anything well enough, it's the first time I've done a rig tying one. I'm not usually the main man for tying rigs, but I've had quite a lot of success with the chod rigs. So has Chris. He loves it. It's his go-to rig, and that's how you tie one up. You just pop that onto a safe system like a lead core, slide that onto it, then put your bead on, and you're in business. So just let me know in the comments if I've not explained anything well enough, or whether there's anything I can do better next time I show you a rig. Next one I do will be a stiff hinge rig. That's one of my favourite rigs to use. But there's your chod rig, all done. Nice bit of kit. Thanks for watching.